What's up, guys? This is Turtles Impact, episode 9 with James Klingerman. We're going to be going over his journey as becoming a black belt and what inspired him to open up his gym, and how he's creating athletes by teaching them how to create their own game plan for when they go out on the competition mats. Let's dig into it. Hope you guys enjoy.
How you been, bro?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. Better every day.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, gym looks nice, man. It's cool that you
Cool.
got
Thanks.
it. Yeah, pretty sweet.
Yeah, you need to come see the new place.
Oh, dude, for sure, for sure. I actually just met someone that's down there that's kind of trying to convince me to move down in that area. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so it'd be pretty sweet. Give us a little insight on everything that's going on right now, like in who you are.
Well, my name's James Klingerman. I'm a fourth degree black belt. I've run Indiana Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Academy. Actually, just 2 days. Well, let's say Wednesday. 3 days ago, we just celebrated our 24-year anniversary open.
Oh, yeah, congrats.
So yeah, thank you. This facility we've been in just over a year and a half now. So we moved into this one. We had our grand opening here August 1st of 2022.
Okay.
So yeah, kind of rebuilding. But yeah, got a new spot, new gym, continuously improving that. Still got a few little things here and there we're doing, and yeah. So we're right here in Greenwood, Indiana. So just south of Indianapolis.
Yep. Hell yeah, bro. That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and let's start with your like journey as a black belt. Like, so when I say like the journey, I feel like the journey really starts at the first sport that you like, the first kind of moment you start thinking that you're going to be an athlete kind of thing.
Okay.
So when was the first time that you kind of started getting into really wanting to do jiu-jitsu altogether?
Yeah. So, excuse me. Man, first time I really thought about jiu-jitsu was honestly, man, like in like 93 when Hoist Gracie won the first UFC, right? They had a little snippet of it on MTV Sports with Dan Cortez.
Okay,
and they showed some of that stuff, and I was like, man, that looks really cool. I had already been doing like karate and stuff like that, so I was interested in martial arts, but there wasn't really like a professional route to go. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh wow, that looks really, really fun. Like I'd like to fight. That'd be cool. And man, I had never competed in anything before, ever. Like nothing. Really? I think I won like a headstand competition in third grade. So, it's pretty big deal.
Yeah.
First time I ever did a headstand. It just happened and it worked out.
You just became
but
kept that going.
Yeah, I can still do it. So, but yeah, man, I saw that. And, obviously back in like 93, 94, there was no jiu-jitsu. So somewhere around 95, I believe, I had this little judo school. It was a judo and karate dojo by my house. And they put this sign up that said jiu-jitsu, but it was J-U-T-S-U, right?
Yeah. And
me and a buddy went in, talked to the guy, and, he was like, oh, yeah, same stuff. I do Gracie jiu-jitsu. And come to find out, he definitely did not do Gracie jiu-jitsu. He actually even told me he trained with one of the Gracies, but he said some weird, like, name. And it was like a Japanese first name. And we're like, oh yeah, this guy, I don't even know who that is. This guy really knows this stuff. Yeah. And kind of, man, I think I always had a goal of fighting. So I was doing the Japanese jiu-jitsu, I was doing the judo, I was trying to learn kickboxing and everything. And then in like around late June of 97, so right before I turned 18, we met this guy named Greg Eldred, who was a blue belt under Hoist and Horion, and he ran he was like a 2-stripe blue belt at the time, and he was one of the first the Gracie affiliates when they had their like association thing. Yeah. So he had a school in Ohio, and then I think his job, if I remember right, brought him to Indiana. So he was up like an hour north of Indianapolis, and we met him, started training there, and yeah, man, I've just been. I started competing right off the bat. Like a couple weeks into training with him, I just immediately jumped into competition, started competing all the time. And yeah, that was 26 and a half years ago. So
nice, bro. Hell yeah, that's quite a long time. I mean, you got the stripes to prove it, bro. So you've been kicking some ass. What are some major memorable achievements like in your competition years?
Oh man, I don't know. It's hard saying. Like, you know, there was a lot of big tournaments and stuff. Like at blue belt and purple belt and stuff. You know what I mean? Like I won Horion's nationals at
Nice.
blue. Felt really good. That was like a big win for me.
Yeah.
I won the Helson's no gi nationals at purple, and that was an open division, so I was white through black. It was just advanced expert, whatever.
Nice.
But yeah, man, I've won a couple IBJJF tournaments. Honestly, man, I just started competing at lightweight. I've always
Yeah.
just done middle, and I've not cut those last like 2 or 3 pounds for whatever reason. I've done middle and middle heavy almost always. But I started doing lightweight, and I won Indy last year, and I just double gold at Nashville, and then I've got Indy coming up again this year in like 3 days. So yeah, just had a
What made
couple
you
wins here and there.
Yeah, hell yeah, bro. You definitely got some badges, bro. What made you want to do the cut to the
Dude, I am I always tell people like I am the weakest adult male alive. Like I am not strong. I'm not strong. I don't like working out. I don't want to lift and exercise, and
Yeah.
it's I just don't like it. And like literally I'll walk into a middleweight division with my shoes on and a gallon of water in my hand, and I'm still 10, 12 pounds under the weight class. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And guys are like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. I didn't want to miss weight. And so, like, I mean, I was literally walking in, the lightweight cutoff is like 168 and a half or whatever. And I'd walk in weighing at like 169, 170. And finally I was like, man, that's literally like a couple minutes in the sauna. Like but and then of course, once I decided to go lightweight, I start gaining weight. Now I'm walking around like 180. I'm like, where'd all this weight come from? But actually, I'll tell you what, I remember the first time I did lightweight. I think I got sick or something. And then I just didn't really put the weight back. I didn't put the weight back on. I was like, what is going on? So I was walking around like low 60s.
Oof.
And I was like, holy moly, I can make weight easy, And then of course, I put some weight back on, but I was still staying like high 60s. And so, it made sense. And then now typically when I compete, I do lightweight in the gi, and then I'm still competing middleweight, no gi. I can weigh in at lightweight, but I don't know. I worry about like missing it by an ounce or something. And, but yeah, middleweights, man, those guys are huge. I'm like, how are you like 350 and you're competing middleweight? Doesn't make sense.
But
that's what it feels like anyway.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, that's pretty dope. That's a good idea, honestly, especially if you don't have much to cut, so you don't have to worry about like feeling weak or anything like that.
Yeah, I weighed in this morning with my gi on. I was like 170, so like I've got 2 pounds to go.
So this upcoming is a gi tournament.
Yeah, both. It's the IBJJF Indianapolis Open. So for me, should be gi on Saturdays and then no gi on Sunday.
Nice. What's your strong points? Is it gi or no?
Right now, gi. It just varies. I don't train much no gi right now, so. But I feel pretty comfortable with both. But I can tell you, I used to do a lot of no gi, and now doing almost zero no gi when I step into like the no gi classes and stuff. It's definitely a big difference. You know what I mean? The guys that like don't have anything to offer for me in the gi, like all of a sudden I'm struggling a little bit with certain positions, no gi, and struggling with the pace of it. And so, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's intense, man. No gi is a little bit more like quicker pace. There's no
for
lockdowns,
sure.
Yeah. Well, hell yeah, bro. I'm sure you'll get it knocked out. Yeah,
I feel good. So,
hell yeah, bro. So, what inspired you to start opening your gym and everything and start teaching?
Yeah. So, I don't know. I was poor. I was a kid and didn't have a lot of money. No, it really wasn't like that at all. It was, so I started, I started jiu-jitsu in like 97. And then, in 2000, I actually got shot. I was sitting at a stoplight, guy pulled up next to me, shot me in the head. So that kind of changed my direction. Right. I had this realization, like I'm literally laying in the road bleeding going, I'm never going to fight MMA again. Back then it was called NHB, but yeah, man. So it kind of changed my, changed my vision. I guess it changed my future.
Yeah.
And so when the school opened, I was actually just an assistant, and I got shot February 20th, and the academy opened 2 weeks later on March 3rd.
Wow.
So
So
I was there on the mat, and oddly enough, the owner of the business didn't show up, and none of the other like 3 assistants showed up. So I was the only one who showed up for the grand opening, and I'm laying there, my face like swollen.
Yeah.
I'm literally drooling on myself, like a big patch on my eye, just like pointing, going, no, don't put your leg there.
It's trying your best, bro. Fuck
Dude,
yeah.
it was crazy.
I can imagine.
But yeah, man, I don't even think I took a solid week off. Like I wasn't in the gym, but I was there. I would just come in, man. I didn't have anything to do. And it was actually pretty far. I lived on the north side of Indianapolis, and the school was south, like 30 minutes south. So, I mean, it was a good hour plus drive just to get to the academy at that time. But it sucked just laying around the house. And even initially, man, I had to lay face down because of all the damage to my eye and stuff. And so, I'd spend half the day just laying face down, and I was like, I have to go. Like every like 3 or 4 days, I'd just be like, I need to show up at the gym and just hang out with the guys, and but yeah. And then, so that was like March 3rd of 2000. And then somewhere in August, I actually just started teaching in the back of a Taekwondo academy, just kind of a couple days a week, just to do it more than anything. And I really enjoyed teaching. I knew I did before that. Like I taught a little bit, even when I was doing karate, and I taught at the judo place, and then got to help teach, when this place opened. So when I opened my own branch, I guess, it was mine, and it was, the curriculums were mine, and like the whole business aspect of it was mine. It was all my responsibility, and kind of, it sucked at times, like, especially, like you said, I was 20 years old. I didn't know what to do really, but, it was a great learning experience, and been going for 24 years now. So.
Oh yeah. What are some of the major challenges you've faced with opening the gym and stuff?
Man, just, back in the day, like I was a blue belt. So, early 2000, I was a blue belt. There was no jiu-jitsu around. There was no purple belts. There was no brown belts, no black belts. And people didn't understand, they're like, well, you're just a blue belt. And it was like, yeah, but man, it took me, I've been doing this for years. Like in Taekwondo or karate, I would be a black belt. Like, but they didn't understand the time difference. So I think the belt thing, even as much as I wanted to believe that it wasn't, and that I could, just try to educate people, I think they see a belt, and everyone understands black belt, no matter what the martial art is. And it would turn people away. And then also, man, just not understanding any kind of business practice, right? I never ran a business. I didn't understand like customer acquisition, customer retention, customer reactivation. I didn't understand how to get them in the door. I didn't really understand how to keep them in the door. And I didn't understand how to talk to people and go, man, hey, it's been a while. Like, what happened? Why aren't you training anymore? And just, over the years, I've learned how to do that, at least to an extent, right? Like, back when I started, man, everybody wanted to fight. And it was like, if you came to jiu-jitsu class, it was like, all right, we got this tournament here, this tournament here, this tournament here. And people were like, no, I'm not competing. I'm like, what? Why? What do you mean? Like, what do you mean you're not competing?
Yeah.
So,
how do you conform around that between like the weekend warriors, so to speak, and your major competition guys?
Yeah, I mean, it took a while to just kind of figure out everybody's on their own path, right? Like I would say 85% of my people have zero interest in competing now. So, as far as the academy goes, we've got like our beginner class where there's very little rolling, maybe a couple positional drills, and we run people through a specific curriculum, and then we work them into like our foundation class, which is kind of all belt levels. It's white through black, but I tend to have the curriculum for that. And we have a foundation curriculum we stick to, but we add to it. So you get these really solid fundamentals, but then also like you're learning how to kind of move that into like more advanced jiu-jitsu. And so I think that's helped a lot, that way the black belts don't get bored learning a basic Americana, and then the white belts aren't overwhelmed with all the other stuff. And then, we have special no-gi comp classes, and we have competition training on weekends, and we have open mats and stuff like that. And, we've got 24 years, we got some high ranked guys. So those guys are able to do private lessons and things like that. And man, we got a really good group where everybody really works together. And, our higher ranked guys, they know like, hey, I'm not going to go smash this new white belt or, like, yeah, it's a purple belt female, but she's 115 pounds and I'm 280, like solid muscle, So our guys are very good at kind of rolling at the other person's level. And then, if you got a competition coming up, you stick with the guys that are going to push you, and I always tell guys like when I'm getting ready for a competition, I'm just like, okay, just so everybody knows, I'm not mad at you.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like,
that's cool.
Because I'm getting ready, so like some normal class, everything's just going great. I coast, just let people work. But when it's competition time, man, like I'm not letting anybody do anything. Like they're getting crushed the whole time. If I can do it, right. If I'm able to,
of course.
So I tend to give that like, I'm not mad at you speech.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that. That's funny, man. Hell yeah. How do you balance your time between everything, like with the training, running the gym, and competing on your own too, and coaching? Do you coach your guys at competitions too, don't you?
I mean, I try to.
Yeah,
I tried. That's the biggest downfall. Almost every single time I compete, I've got dozens of guys competing also. So I almost never get a chance to warm up. Like I'm like running mat to mat, and then they're like calling me. I'm like, oh God, I gotta go. So
that's your warm up, running back and forth.
That's my warm up, right? Like running and screaming.
Yep.
But yeah, so that gets a little agitating. But honestly, right now, man, training wise, like my training is not training. I've got a lower back injury. I hurt my back about 4 years ago, and man, I kept working through it, and it was going, it'd get better and it'd get worse and get better and get worse, and I just kind of like, I just stopped training. I'm teaching classes. I'm not doing drills. I'm not doing any sparring, hardly at all. I do one competition class on the weekends where I go hard, and then it's almost like it takes me the whole week to recover. But and oddly enough, man, like even though I'm not getting that training in, like as I've gone out in these past couple tournaments, it's been almost refreshing. Number one, I go in and my back doesn't hurt horribly. But then number two, it's almost like a clean slate. Like I'm not exhausted from all the training. I know my jiu-jitsu. So I go out and man, my body and my mind kind of feel good. I definitely need to find some training time and some methods where I can drill a little more and train a little more. So I don't do a fantastic job on balancing that. Most of my time is spent running the academy. Fortunately, I've got two people that work here full time that they handle, most everything. And, so I'm teaching classes. I'm teaching probably, I don't know, 15, 20 classes a week, something around that. Nice. That's my week.
How many students are you up to right now?
So we had a large drop due to some internal stuff, but right now I think we're over 200.
Nice. Oh yeah.
Which, is
it's there. You know, just with all the stuff that you go through and what you've been through. I know we've talked a few times on the mat. It's not been easy.
Yeah. Yep. Going well, man. I mean, overall, going well. I'm happy. So.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. That's what it seems like, bro. That's what it seems like. So what kind of advice would you have for any aspiring jiu-jitsu or athletes or anybody that's wanting to open their own gym?
Man, that's two completely different scenarios, right? Athletes, man, just so if you're an athlete and you want to compete, find not only a school that competes a lot, but find a gym that you you kind of vibe with. Like,
Mhm.
a competitor is a competitor. I have guys that come to me and we don't click, and they go to the gym down the road and they have a great time. And then guys leave that gym because they don't click and they come here, and that's absolutely fine, right? Like, you're not going to get along with everybody on the mat. You're not going to get along with the instructor, but if you can find a place that you really vibe with, you really click with, awesome. On top of that, make sure the coach is legit. He's got some competition experience, right? And technique. There's a lot of guys out there, man, that are great at competing. Maybe they have a high level wrestling background and then go out and take people down and lay on them. But if you're a tall, lanky guy, that's never going to be your style, right? So like me personally as a coach, my philosophy is I need to be a jack of all trades and a master of some, right? I have those things that I am phenomenal at that are really, really part of my A game, but I want to be familiar and pretty good everywhere, right? Because I have guys that aren't built like me. I'm 6 feet tall, 170 pounds. I've got guys that are 5'5" and 270, right? I've got guys over 400 pounds that are huge. So I need to understand different body types, different games, different all aspects of jiu-jitsu. That's my goal as a coach. So if you're a competitor and you're wanting to be a competitor, an athlete, what have you, like find a good gym you vibe with, find a good a gym with a good coach that's putting out athletes of different styles, right? Different sizes and styles. Like anybody can have like, oh man, we've got these five killers and they're all 300 pounds and 7 feet tall. Like, yeah, those guys are probably going to win at least half, in that ultra heavyweight. It's like, whoever gets on top first wins.
But
then, man, as far as gym ownership goes, you almost have to separate the mindset of wanting to be a competitor from wanting to be a business owner. Like, I always tell guys, like, whatever you're doing, you have to immerse yourself in it, right? Like as a business owner, like I immersed myself in business. Like I took business courses. Like if I'm reading, it's always something to do with business, sales, like what have you. If I'm listening to a podcast or an audiobook or whatever, it's always something of that nature, right? But yeah, like if you're going to run a business, you have to treat it like a business. And I think that was a big thing I failed at initially because I didn't know how to treat it like a business, right? I knew how to get people on the mat and show them things. I didn't know how to make them walk through the front door. And then, I did jiu-jitsu because I like jiu-jitsu. I wanted to do jiu-jitsu. So you almost couldn't have run me off, but
there are those people that kind of need that little nudge.
Yeah. People need the nudge, and people need to understand, like, it takes a long time and you have to talk to different people differently, and you have to show people the same moves in different ways. And, you have to kind of nurture people a little bit. But also you have to do it without being a yes man and like coddling, right? Like, somebody
gotta find their own ways of motivate. I noticed with me being a coach and a personal trainer so far, you've really got to like dig into someone and how, not only how they learn, but what motivates them. Like, is taunting them going to motivate them? Is saying, hey, you're doing a good job, keep going, is that going to motivate them? Because some people do better with like negative affirmations rather than the positives, So
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I've got, I'm pretty mild mannered. Like when I'm coaching, I typically speak. I try not to yell. Like I project my voice, right? But I don't yell and scream. And I see coaches all the time like, and they're screaming, and you're like, dude, calm down.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, man, when I was fighting coaching fighters for MMA, most of the time I could speak at a normal tone and my guys could hear me. And that's what they responded well to. But I had a couple guys where it was like in between rounds, I'm like grabbing their face and I'm like, I'm dropping F-bombs. I'm like, what the I'm cussing them out. And they would be, oh yeah. And that was what it took, And then even after the round when they're celebrating, I'm grabbing them and I'm smacking them like good job. That's how you do it. Not the, We come in the gym and I'm like, everybody's like, oh my God, James is mad. And it's like, no, like,
no, just.
And then you turn, you're all speaking softly to the next guy. You're like, okay.
Instant switch.
It's okay. You're all right.
Doing good. Yeah, you.
Yeah. And so this is the other thing I tell some of my other coaches is like, you have to watch, sometimes that guy needs talked to that way, but you also have to watch who you talk to, like, or who you're in front of when you speak to that person that way. Right. Yeah. If I have a guy that I'm coaching and I know he needs kind of yelled at and screamed at, but then I have like 5 brand new people on the mat, like, I can't speak to him that same way in front of the new people, at least not without a disclaimer. Be like, hey, we don't know each other yet, but this guy, right?
We know each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a good thing to do, because if they see you screaming at him, they're like, oh man, this guy's gonna end up coming over here. This is gonna be a negative experience. Like, oh man.
Yeah. And like comp training classes, there's other gyms I know where the coach is he's sitting there yelling and screaming the whole time. And, I'm not like that by any means. I'm like, all right, guys, here's the assignment. This is what we're doing these next 3 drills and go. And then typically I'm in there doing it. Right. And like, I'll talk to him in between rounds. And I've had guys come and be like, dude, like, I don't like going to these comp classes where the coach is yelling and screaming. We've got former military guys like, dude, I was screamed at in the military for 12 years. I don't need somebody screaming at me because he's a black belt, So, but then there's other guys that they're like, yeah, dude, it's hard for me to get off the couch without knowing that this guy's going to scream at me if I don't. So, different people, it takes different things to motivate them. And, hopefully people stick around long enough that you can kind of learn how to speak to them and what it does take to get them off the couch and get them in here,
Yeah. To be their motivation, inspiration, and whatnot.
Yeah. You got guys that won't leave the gym and you're like, hey, all right, man, it's time to go home. And then other guys you got to call and be like, hey, other guys are like, put the bag of Doritos down in your car and get here. Right.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I love that. What's community mean to you, and how do you kind of bring that about in like your gym and outside of the gym? Like, do you promote cross training and all that stuff?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm huge on cross training. I know, man, it's always funny to me when like guys are like, yeah, you can't go and train in other gyms. Like when I was coming up, and maybe it's part of when I was coming up, like I said, my coach was a blue belt. So if you could ever go train at another jiu-jitsu gym, like you were lucky because there just weren't that many. You'd have to travel out of state almost. But back then we would go to these little MMA fight clubs, in somebody's barn, and we would train like that and pick up little things like, oh man, that guy showed me some cool details on wrestling. Like, but yeah, man, like I always tell guys, like all my guys go cross train everywhere. I've got guys that travel for business, and if I were to be like, you can't cross train, like, what are they gonna do? Like travel for 2 weeks and sit in the hotel? And like, no, man, it's stupid. Like I just tell guys like, hey, yeah, go cross train. If you find some cool tips and tricks, man, bring them back. If you see something cool, bring it back. Like whether it's a training method, whether it's a drill, whether it's a technique, whether it's just a little detail on something that helps your body type, like bring that stuff home, man. That's awesome. We've got, I love looking out here on my mat and seeing guys with patches from different gyms.
Okay.
And it's awesome. We welcome guests, man. If you look at my website, it actually says, we don't charge drop-in fees. It says we welcome guests or visitors or something along those lines. Like, if you're an indie, man, come train. We'd love to have you come train. White belt of 2 classes in, or multi-degree black belt, doesn't matter. Come in, see us.
Yeah, just don't go in there with an ego.
Yeah.
Always. Hell yeah, bro. I love that. There's not. I think it is pretty dumb. A lot. There are coaches out there that still don't allow cross training.
Oh yeah, I've met them.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude. It stunts the growth of the team, really.
Yeah, I think so.
So how do you continue to improve your skills and like your learning experience, like even in jiu-jitsu, and keeping up with all the up-to-date stuff?
Yep. So, man, so I was telling the class this morning. So this week we are actually focused on creating game plans. So I'm huge on creating game plans. Actually, I just put a video up on YouTube about kind of how to do it, like a very basic one. Mm-hmm. And so what I tell my guys is take usually 4 top positions, 4 bottom positions. We plug a couple moves into those, and that's what you're working. When you're rolling, that's all you do. Okay. So even if I'm teaching something else in class, when it comes time to roll, like I want you rolling with your set game plan. So this whole week we've just been like literally pens and paper writing stuff down.
Right.
I'll make
Yeah.
guys run through drills, be like, all right, guys, find your strengths, find your weaknesses. Okay, cool. We'll go on to the next thing. And like, I've just got guys taking notes and pen to paper, writing it down. And I do the same thing, man. Like, you know, if I see something new or like something that interests me, like it goes along with one of my A games, right? I'll immediately write it down. I'll start implementing it. I might even get on YouTube and like look up a couple different variations, but you know, I've been training long enough as I travel. I get to roll with a lot of different black belts and pick up little styles and stuff. And I'll be like, man, what was that? you passed my guard. Like, how'd you do that? Or, you know, man, it felt normal and my normal defense didn't work. So show me what you did. And then I can come back and I can game plan and I can add to it. I was telling a story the other day about one of my favorite matches ever. I lost. And it was horrible. I got smashed. But a super solid guy. And so I was, you know, almost lightweight, but I accidentally registered middle heavy. It was at Master Worlds. And, I fought, shoot, I can't remember his name now. Thiago Silva.
Oh,
and,
nice.
So not the one that fought in the UFC, a different guy. But this guy, he won Abu Dhabi black belt pro division, like actually 2 weeks after I fought him. Anyway, super stud jiu-jitsu guy, way bigger. He was younger, stronger, faster, better at jiu-jitsu, right? But I had a game plan going in. I was like, this is what I want to do. These are my takedowns. This is what I'm going to pass. These are my sweeps. This is my half guard. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I went out, boom, took him down. 5 seconds in, I take him down. I get right into my guard passing. He swept me. I got right into my sweep game. And then, man, we just had this match. And he beat me. He had like 6 advantages. But the best part about the match was I got into my game everywhere I wanted to get into it with this like world-class grappler.
Yeah.
And it was like I hit, you know, move 1, he countered, move 2, he countered, move 3, he countered, move 4, he countered, move 5, he countered. And I'm like, I got nothing else. Nobody's ever made it past 5 before. Right. So it was like literally, but it was like that with every aspect of my A game. And I'm like, holy crap.
Awesome, bro.
Dude, after the match, he and I sat and we talked and he was like, how'd you do this? And I'm like, well, it was like this. All right. And he's like, you know what? Let's get together later because I want to talk to you more. And dude, I went down, I wrote stuff down. I went back, I watched the video, mapped it out, came back to the academy, grabbed a couple guys, and I'm like, all right, look, when I did this, he did this. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, so now let's find some answers when you do this. What can I do? Okay. Yeah. And then when I counter that way, what can you do? Right. So it expanded my, like, literally like all aspects of my competition game, like threefold. One loss. And, that to this day is probably one of my favorite matches, not because of what happened necessarily in the match, but the outcome of it. Right. Yeah. What I gained from it. So.
That's insane, bro. Hell yeah. That was what, at black belt level?
Yeah, that was man, what year was that? I think that was second Master World, so 2012.
Wow, dude.
Maybe.
Hell yeah, bro. That's pretty crazy.
Like that.
Yeah. Hell yeah. What exactly is that weighted class again?
So that was middle heavy, which is it's like 182 to 194-ish, somewhere in there.
What'd you walk into there at?
I think 170.
Oh, shit. Nice, bro. Yeah. Dude, that is insane. Not only did he have weight, but like just the fact that you got into your games and everything. That's crazy.
Yeah, it felt good. So actually, a buddy. No, what did I say? Yeah. His name is Thiago Silva. So my buddy Thiago Alves trains with him. So they're Barbosa guys. And I messaged my buddy Thiago and I was like, hey, I fought your friend. He's like, oh. And it was kind of like, ooh, that sucks for you, you know. And he's like, how'd the match go? And I was like, well, it was 2-2 the whole time. And I said, you know, he was up on advantages. And then actually, like near the end, I rolled out of an omoplata and rolled out of bounds. And so we started up, and he got 2. So he ended up beating me 4-2. And he was like, oh, you went to points? And I was like, yeah, man, it was a really good match. And he's like, how did you score? And I was like, oh, I got the takedown. And and it's like this long, like you would see him like type and then he would like delete it and he would type and he would delete it. And he's like, don't take this the wrong way. He's like, that guy is amazing. He's like, just scoring on that guy. He goes, getting a takedown on that guy is legit. I can't remember how he phrased it exactly, but he was just like, dude, that's high level, you know?
Yeah.
And just him, like, I know he was like, oh, like, cause I've rolled with him and he murders me. So
yeah. He's like, I know what he is. Like,
yeah, but he was just like, dude, no, that's a good match for you. He's like, he's like, not only did he not tap you, but you scored on him. He's like, that's a good match for you.
that's probably what impressed him. He's like, holy shit, who's this guy?
Yeah. Well, I can tell you his next match after me, he was, man, it was like 2 minutes in, he was up 17-0 and then he tapped the guy, right?
Oh, wow,
and
bro.
then he ended up losing his third match to the guy who won the division that day. And I cannot remember who it was, but I know going into that, he was a 3-time world champion and they went 0-0. He lost, it was 1 advantage to 1 advantage and he lost a ref decision.
Ooh.
So,
yeah.
So I was the only one who scored on him, you know, pretty.
Yeah. Some brush that out
there. But, you know, like I said, that match, like it actually, like even losing it, like, man, it gave me so much confidence. And like, you know, when I first started competing at black belt, I lost like, I think my first 9 gi matches, something like that.
So how do you, that was actually one of the next questions. How do you deal with like setbacks and major disappointments? Like for instance, even with just like the gym or even in competition?
Oh man.
All of them aren't going to have as great of an outcome as the Silva.
Yeah, right. So I'll tell you, competitive setbacks, man, like I give myself a day or two to kind of beat myself up. But ultimately, like the thing that got me over any kind of setback was just gamifying sport, right? And what I mean by that is like literally when I go out to compete, I can control 2 things. I can do my best and I can have fun, right? If I'm not having fun, then, you know, I'm not going to do my best. So, and if I don't do my best, I'm not going to have fun. So I can always 100% control those 2 things. And what I mean by gamifying it is like I used to play a lot of video games as a kid, and you never pick up a controller and just walk through and you beat a video game, right? It never happens. Like you fall off the cliff or you get hit by the bird or you know, you get shot or whatever. You always lose. And so you figure that out. You're like, oh crap, there's that. I know that bird's going to swoop down and knock me into the ditch. Right. And, so I just kind of look at it like that is like, if I have a loss, then I go, okay, how do I fix this next time? How do I fix this next round? What did I do wrong? What did he do right? What did I do wrong that he did right? And we met in the middle and that's what caused the loss. So I just gamify it, man. I look at it and I go, okay, cool. Yeah. Next time we'll do something different. Right. You know, like I said, I just double golded down in Nashville and still I came back and I was like, all right, ultimately, man, I was very happy with my performance. Like, couple matches, perfect. Like, I don't think they could have been better. They're absolutely spotless. Yeah. My first no-gi match, my wrestling was good. My half guard passing was good. I stayed right with my game plan. I had a little slip up. I got caught back in guard. The guy was going for a knee bar. And instead of doing like what I would normally do, I was so set on you have 3 points, don't do anything else, right? Just chill. That I tried to pass his foot off to one side instead of just attacking the leg like I normally would have. But I tried to like make space and just smash it down. And when I did, it actually gave him the space to attack the knee. And I slipped out immediately. Like it was no big deal, but it was just like that one little thing where I kind of deviated from what I was good at. Like I was trying to fight strategically, but I deviated from where I was strong. Right. And so I went back, I still won the match. I still won the division, but I look at that and I go, how many times do I have to make that mistake? Right. And I'll give you another example. Almost identical thing happened, but I lost. It was at No-Gi Worlds a few years ago. My second match in, I was going with a really tough Atos guy, and I'd scored an advantage on a takedown. And man, this guy's he's just trying to take me down. And I was like, he couldn't take me down. He couldn't get in on me. My stand-up felt really good. I was brushing him off. And I was like, I'm going to win on this advantage. I'm just going to sit and grip fight. Well, as the clock started winding down that last 30 seconds, I started changing. And instead of doing what was working, I stepped back and I was like, I'm going to ride the line. And then if he gets in on me, I'm going to flee. I'm going to run out of bounds. Right. And that wasn't my game plan. My plan was stay right here where I'm at, wrestle this guy. This is what's been working the whole 4.5 minutes of this match. And I am winning. And then I stepped back. He shot, pulled guard. When he pulled, I tried to flee instead of just wrestling and just smashing him into half guard, which is what I should have done. I tried to run out of bounds, and he caught my leg, actually tore something in my hip, got the takedown. And I mean, small tear, but it tore it. Something it hurt for a couple of weeks, but he got the takedown right, like on the line, on the on the bounds.
Damn.
And now there's like 12 seconds left in the match, right? And now he's up 2. And so he did what he should have done. He was like, I'm not moving, hanging out. Well, that would have put me into the medal rounds. And then he did really well. He ended up placing second. But I was like that was years ago. I think that was like, I don't know, 2015, 16 maybe. So it's been a while. And I'm just like, I still kick myself over that. It's like, God dang, like that was like almost a guaranteed medal at Worlds, and just crapped it just the last 30 seconds because I was like, oh, let's change our strategy. the one that's been working this whole time. Let's deviate just a little bit and lose. Yeah, and lose. that was the bad part.
I can see why you now you're strict on writing your game plan down and stuff. I'm sure that helps tremendously.
Yeah. Well, and also I tell my guys, like, people don't believe it. Like, people are like, oh, they'll grab their phone, right? They'll pick up their phone and they're like, and they type notes. But they've done study after study where they take a group of people and they I think they've done it with typewriters, and they did it with computers, and they did it with tablets, but they have them take notes on a lecture or on a class. And then they have another group literally put pen to paper and write it with pen and paper. And time after time, the study group that did the pen and the paper did better on the test. So I tell guys, like, yes, like, technology is great. If you want that on your phone, write it down on paper first and take a picture of it. Right.
Yeah.
Candace, will you grab me a game plan sheet? I want to show. So we print up game plan sheets, and I have them sitting at our front counter all the time. And then this week, like, because we're leading up to tournaments, I've got a bunch of guys that are not competing in this tournament. They're coming up on competitions. I was like, listen, like, you guys won't do this on your own. I'm going to force you to do it. And we've had packed classes. Like, I had about 20 in this morning in my morning class, and we're all out here just taking our time, writing these down, right? Like,
nice. Hell yeah.
There's actually a couple of things I'm going to add to this, but we take our top stuff. So, like, you could say, like, guard, what guard passes am I doing? Side control, what attacks am I doing from there? And then we go to mount, what attacks am I doing from there? From bottom, I'm all backwards. My camera's backwards. But from bottom. So bottom, I'm probably in guard. What attacks am I doing from guard? If they are in side control, how am I escaping? If they're mount, how am I escaping? And then I tell guys, we have a different game plan for training and for competition, right? Competition, I'm A game. I'm not putting escapes and defense in my A game because that's not where I want to be, right? We still know how to do that stuff. But for training, this is the stuff I'm not great at. This is the stuff I need to get better at, right? So most of my guys who are competing, they'll have this A game competition game plan leading into the tournament. Boom, after the tournament, we're immediately making changes to it, right? So, like, sometimes that's, hey, my A game didn't work. We're going to keep that and make that even better. But then also, hey, what happened that I sucked at, right? Oh, I got caught in side control and couldn't escape. Guess what? You're drilling side control constantly all the time, and you're going to drill with intention. So it's not just, I can't get out. It's, what are you doing to get out? I need to know specifics, right? And I always tell guys, like, if somebody comes to me and they have a question, let's say, and it's always guard passing. Coach, I can't pass guard. My first question every single time is, what guard passes are you trying? And 99% of the time they go, oh, no. And I go, well, that's probably your issue. If you don't know what you're trying, then you're not trying anything, right? So you need to be specific with what, like, low level, like guard pass, guard 2 or 3 guard passes, higher level, like, what's your series, right? Like, am I doing a leg lace passing style? Am I doing knee through passing? Am I cartwheeling over? Like, what is your series that you're trying and you're failing? And that helps us, not only go, okay, well, let me see you do it. Oh man, your hand placement's a little off. Oh man, your weight needs to shift a little more this way. Or man, you're doing everything right. So what are they doing to defend that? Right. And then they're like, oh man, yeah, somehow their knee keeps getting in here. Oh, well, yeah. Okay. The knee keeps coming in because your elbow and knee are separating. Or, oh man, they're hammering over that. Cool. Just flow with it. Just go to this one. Right. So it helps us troubleshoot immediately. And man, it fixes guys' games. I had a guy a couple weeks ago, my guy Levi, he's actually from one of my affiliates, but he comes up here a couple times a week. And he's like, Coach, what's your go-to guard pass? And I was like, man, it just depends on the scenario, but I like leg lace passing. And he's like, oh, I hate leg lace passing. And I was like, well, show me what you're doing. And he's like, yeah, I get stuck here. And I go, oh, we'll do this, this, and this, right? Yeah. We had like a 5-minute conversation on it. Literally, that was, I think, Wednesday morning. Friday, he went to, what was that, Memphis maybe? Anyway, he went out of state, went to an IBJJF tournament, sends me a video. First match, leg lace pass, boom, perfect.
Nice.
Right to knee on belly, right to mount. He's like, hey, check this out. I'm like, cool.
Did it. Yeah.
And then,
I did the thing.
This morning, man, one of my guys, Zach, he's still a white belt, he's 3-stripe white belt. He sat down with my brown belt, Ryan, and they developed a game plan. It's honestly, like I told him, this is the best game plan I've ever seen people put together. It actually made me change the way I'm going to do the sheets because he added a couple little details that I really liked. But secret stuff we can't talk about on the podcast.
Of course.
I'm just kidding. But just the way he put it together, right? He had like some stars. It was like, deviate from game plan only if, right? So like game plan, his game
spider web thing, the spider web kind of design. It's almost exactly what's going on.
Yeah. So I'm okay with that. I like this style simply because it looks a little more like Microsoft Windows, right?
Yeah.
I have my folder, I have my Spider Guard folder, I have my whatever folder, and I open that folder and there's my techniques. So I think people are a little more used to that than seeing the mind map, right? The mind map with the bubbles and the arrows and stuff. Those mind maps sometimes are hard to follow. Okay.
Yeah.
But every one of us uses a computer all day long. We know how to go to a drive, open a folder, select program, right? But yeah, so this guy, Zach, he's a white belt. I know he's been drilling his game plan, and I've rolled with him, and I was like, dude, he's got this game plan pretty set. So this morning we finished up with some rounds, and I was like, guys, you are only rolling with game plans, like nothing else. And he rolled 4 rounds, 3 blue belts, and a 4-stripe white belt. And then afterwards, I was like, all right, cool, guys, who rolled with Zach? And I said, cool, how'd it go? And blue belt number 1, who's a stud blue belt, he's like, and I saw Zach tap him. He goes, he did his game plan to a T. And I was like, cool. Blue belt number 2, who's much bigger. And I know this blue belt beat Zach, but I was like, how'd that go? And he goes, dude, he did his game plan to a T. Cool. Blue belt number 3, how'd your round with Zach go? He goes, he did everything on his game plan to me at will. I was like, cool. White belt, how'd that go? He's like, he crushed me with exactly what is on his game plan. Cool. That's awesome, dude. Zach, how do you feel about competing this weekend in your first tournament? He's like, I feel really good about it. Awesome. You should. So
that's awesome, dude. That's creating champions right there, bro.
So going back to the just to give another style game plan we use, I call it a nucleus game plan. So it looks a little more like the mind map, right? But with the nucleus game plan, I use Josh Hinger as a good example. I think we're all familiar with Josh Hinger and his Hingertine. I was fortunate enough to film the first Hingertine instructional with him, so it was like 6 hours of me getting guillotined.
Nice.
But so Josh, I mean, he's got other games. I'm not saying that's all he's good at. Josh is a phenomenal jiu-jitsu guy. But his Hingertine is here, right? So how do you get there? Well, he can get there from inside guard. He can get there from rear mount, from knee on belly, from wherever, right? He's got all these different entries into it. But the cool thing about it is when he takes that Hingertine, he can also go to other places, right? So he can use that to pass the guard. He can use that to set up bravos. He can use that to set up arm bars. He can use it to set up mount, right?
Okay.
Actually, funny enough, so I suck at the Hingertine. Like you'd think I would be good at it after working with him so much, but I'm just not great at it. But it was that same no-gi worlds when I lost second round. So my first round match, I remember I was in the guy's half guard And Josh was sitting there and he's watching my match. And I kind of looked up and I locked in the hang routine and I used it to pass the guy's guard into mount. And I was like, oh, and I looked up and he was gone. And I was like, oh man. After the match, I was texting him. I was like, "You see the hang routine?" He's like, "No."
Oh man. Okay. The bubble burst, dude.
Send you a video. He's like, "Don't bother." I'm like, "Okay."
Jeez.
He didn't really say.
Yeah. No. That's great, bro. Shit. So do you want to shine some light on some of your success stories from your students?
Oh man, I no, I don't want to single anybody out. Like, dude, here's the thing, man. Is like 24 years, we've had so many people find success in so many different ways. Some of those people are just like I've got a girl right now. She's a 16-year-old girl. She came in and she like was just like this. She like literally like I'm trying to show her stuff and I'd have to pull her sleeves down off of her hands because she was just such bad social anxiety. And then like we did our little intro class and then I gave her the schedule and she literally, she runs out of the building. And I was like, I will never see that girl again.
Yeah.
And then like the next day her mom brings her in and she does our beginner class. And it was the same thing. She was just like, I'm like, hey, you have to like take your hands out of your clothes, out of your shirt, like, and, but man, like, and then I saw her laughing a couple of times. I was like, okay, cool. And then like she comes in again and she's like, kind of has a smile. And then her mom and dad came in with her. And then like, man, by like the second week, it's probably like her 5th or 6th class in, I saw her mom up here buying her a gi and, she's wearing it. She walks up and this girl's hardly said anything to me since like that first intro class. She walks up, she's like, Coach, I got my outfit. I was like, I know. I was like, that's awesome. I was like, I'm so happy for you. But man, she's just loving it. And like, now she's like sparring and stuff. So like, man, honestly to me, like those little things for people mean so much more than somebody can go out and win a tournament. Like, man, great on you. Like you're a super athlete, whatever. I've got this guy, Caleb Pointer, remember the name. Dude's a monster. He's like 270 pounds. He runs an hour. This legit. He runs over an hour every single morning. He does all these crazy workouts. The guy can bust out 20 plus like pull-ups, like slow full extension at 270. He does not get tired. He's super heavy-handed. He's got great footwork, head movement, good boxing, pretty good wrestling. He's been entering jiu-jitsu tournaments, gi and no gi, and he's beating purple and brown belts as a blue belt. Like multiple. Like he just went down to Fuji and won. You've probably seen him actually, but he won blue and purple down there. And the previous time he got second in the blue, and then he won the purple and the brown. But so and then he just won some titles, MMA shows. First time I've cornered him MMA. But I've got a lot of guys like that. Like I used to. I've trained a lot of guys that went on to fight in the UFC. I cornered Sean McCorkle in all 3 of his fights. Man, just so many guys like competitively, man. We've got so many guys. I've had guys on EBI and like we had guys win, worlds, master worlds, no-gi worlds, et cetera. But the ones that mean the most are just it's the normal people that just come in and something about it just changes their life for the better. Right. Like, man, when I told that girl's parents, I was like, man, when I was a kid, that was me. Like day 1 kindergarten all the way through high school, man, I couldn't talk. Like I didn't want to be there. It was bothersome, and I'm glad they didn't have a bunch of drugs and they didn't know what social anxiety disorder was back then because, they probably would have tried to like have me on drugs and have me in a special school and stuff. But dude, jiu-jitsu, like I still have that, right? I still don't like being in groups. I don't go out and do things very often, but jiu-jitsu's helped me at least learn to talk to people and like have some confidence. And, it's funny, like you put me in a room where I'm not doing anything or like I have to talk to people. I'm like that girl, right? My hands are in my sleeves. But then you're like, hey, James, why don't you go teach these people some jiu-jitsu? I'm like, oh yeah, no problem. Cool. Check this out. Right. It makes it a lot easier. And dude, honestly, I can't even remotely imagine where my life would be if I didn't have jiu-jitsu. And like, so when when jiu-jitsu, just the training of it or the environment of the academy can help somebody in a way like that is by far the most important thing to me.
That's awesome. That's very inspirational, bro. Like really it is. Because I'm the exact same way. These podcasts, me starting this business is me trying to get out of my comfort zone and to,
Yeah.
be a part of a group again. Because like I haven't been able to, I've been kind of in a situation where jiu-jitsu has not been a part of my life yet, but it's working back up to that point, So
Yeah.
eventually, but I definitely resonate with that, man. It seems like all the extrovert or the introverts are gonna be are doing great things. It's like when you find your niche or you find some or you just really want to help people. I don't know, kind of a different mindset.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's like a calling, right? Like
Yeah, yeah,
everybody, maybe not everybody, but most people have something that they're good at, something they're interested in, something that can pull them out of their
hmm
shell, if presented in the right way. And
yeah,
like I think jiu-jitsu, even if it's not jiu-jitsu per se, like I think jiu-jitsu can lead people to find that thing, you
yeah,
know.
yep. I love it, bro. So what can you share some of the future plans and goals you have with like your competitive and the career of the gym?
Um, yeah, man. So competition, I'm just personally just taking it one day at a time. Like if a tournament's there and I've got the time to do it, I might as well, right? If I'm
Yep.
healthy doing it. Other than that, like, we keep lists of all the kind of local Midwest tournaments and all the big IBJJF tournaments, and we just say, hey guys, if anybody's going, let's get signed up. Here's how you do it. We help people uh, register and lead them through that process and provide coaching staff there when they're available. As
hmm
far as the gym goes, man, like my sister Candace, she's the one that handed me the the game plan sheet a minute. She's been full time with me for quite a while.
Nice.
The whole time this gym's been open. My one of my best friends, Ryan, he's one of my brown belts. He teaches a lot of my classes. He's instrumental in it was just kind of our web and our graphics design and stuff like that. But like he's taken a super active role in the academy, especially since we moved here. Like he was
Nice.
here building building walls and hanging mats and this nice ceiling here.
That's nice.
He spent over 200 hours like hand
Damn.
painting like all this red and like all the little tiny bits. And
Yeah,
but man,
that's awesome.
like I was fortunate enough, like just man, probably less than a month ago, I hired him here full time. So he's here literally 12 hours a day, and he's in that back office back there, just working away right now. So he handles a lot of our like our day to day operations and stuff, and
Yeah.
just the two of them combined, and with me here, like we have a pretty good team. So just trying to build. Do a little more online stuff. So I have my membership site, BJJ.foundation, and it's got just a basic, what I consider like the foundation of jiu-jitsu. Just basically we took all the normal positions, offensively and defensively. How do you get there? How do you stay there? What do you attack from there? And then on the other end of that, how do you prevent it? How do you escape it? And how do you defend and escape attacks? So it's got about 375 videos now. And
Nice.
then hopefully in the future, we'll start expanding into like the foundations of butterfly guard, foundations
Yeah.
of, cartwheel passing, like whatever. So we'll have different sets
Nice.
on that. And then I also
Okay.
in the Fight Hub where I do instructionals. It's kind of like a BJJ Fanatics on a much smaller
Mhm.
scale. So I
Yeah.
do instructionals for people, different people, and then myself. But then we also I do tarps for other gyms and then custom gear for other gyms and stuff. So if you let's see if I can just stop breaking it. So I've got like some stuff there. I
Nice.
even did my little custom chairs here.
Oh, dude, dope.
So and
That
stools.
is really
Where's my
dope.
stools? I don't have any stools, but yeah.
Ah,
So just doing custom gear of all kinds. So that's a big thing I started focusing on a lot more recently. I've always done my own, but yeah, I do custom gear for gyms all over the U.S. A lot in California actually. Oddly enough, even though I'm in Indiana.
hmm.
So there's that. What else do we do? BJJ Foundation, the Fight Hub, and then this place. Yeah, so I pretty much limited it to those three. I
Yeah.
think three's pretty good. But yeah, man, just continuing, just growing, and my 90% of my focus is just on growing the academy, at least getting back to where where we were at about 400 members for a while. I think that's my goal by the end of this year. And then by the end of 2026, I would say, no, excuse me, 2025, I'd like to be floating around at least 600 members. So.
Hell yeah. That'd be a hell of an income for you. That'd be pretty dope.
And then, so this is 5,000 square feet. So I'm actually in a standalone building, but there is another 5,000 square feet that way. And then there's another 10,000 square feet behind us. So it's a 20,000 square foot facility. It's a lighting center. So the lighting center actually owns the whole building. And they rent this side out just for fun, is what he told me. So my goal, hopefully within the next, I would say 5 years, is to buy the whole building. So I'd have 20,000 square feet.
Yeah. Hell yeah, bro. That'd be pretty dope.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll get there, man. You're pretty fucking determined and dedicated. You've gotten this far.
Yeah. Hopefully. We'll see. But feel good about it.
Yeah. I'll have you send me all the links to all your good stuff, and then we'll put them in the description and stuff.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
Is there anybody you want to make a shout out to, or anything else you want to kind of share?
Oh man, I don't know. I was trying to shout out Origin. Say what?
Yeah. Shout out to mom.
Shout out to my dad, my sister, Ryan, all the students here. Man, just man, my students, my team, my friends, my family, and then my one and only sponsor, Origin Geese, Origin Maine. What are they now? I don't even know their website. Jocko Fuel. So we're official distributor of those. Origin Geese, best geese out there by far. By absolute far. Yeah.
Hell yeah, bro. I greatly appreciate you having you on here, man. It's coming up.
Man. It's fun.
Okay. Yeah, hell yeah, bro. I'll be down the train fairly soon because you're only 2 hours away. So definitely, bro.
Bad at all. Yeah. Anytime, man. Come on up.
Hell yeah, bro. I appreciate you. Actually, I'll be sending some people your way because I have somebody in Indianapolis that was looking to get their 9-year-old son into some jiu-jitsu.
Nice. Yeah, a lot of 9-year-olds.
Hell yeah, bro. That's cool. All right, bro. I'll let you go. I appreciate you, man. Hope you have a great day.
All right, you too, man. Thank you.